Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking about emergency preparedness. It's an appropriate time of year, being the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, to talk about what we should do in case of catastrophic major emergencies. Joining us from Salt Lake County, the Salt Lake County Emergency Services Director, Jeff Graviet.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. We have Mike Stever of the Utah Department of Health, Emergency Manager, and Wade Mathews, Tooele County Emergency Management, the Public Information Officer.
Right.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. What is the difference when you go from traditional emergencies to a disaster? Because people have a mindset of saying, okay, there's stuff going to be here, and you know, the paramedics are around the corner. What is the biggest difference, the single biggest difference that people need to be aware of when this happens? Any of you?
Well, I think first of all, people need to understand that our resources are only as strong as the busiest day. And when we get into some kind of a major emergency or catastrophic event, those resources are trying to go out and get some kind of a situational awareness so that there's an understanding of what needs to be done. And so that call to 911 and that response to your home for the problems that you're seeing is not going to be there. And so immediately, as an individual, you have a responsibility to try and do something yourself about the problem, because those emergency services aren't going to be there.
You know, to kind of complement what Jeff said, the emergency responders are immediately going to be overwhelmed. And they're also victims. If the event of a catastrophic earthquake or something like that, they have families, they may be subjected to being injured, have a little bit of trouble getting around town. So basically, as Jeff said, the 911 response that we're used to will disappear immediately. The resources will be overwhelmed. So you're on your own.
Emergencies happen every day, all large and small scales. A disaster is when we're going to be so overwhelmed it's beyond our capability to handle all the needs, all the resource needs, and we'll be asking for help ourselves, government agencies, first responders, and making those declarations for further assistance. So a disaster, it's beyond our capability to respond.
From a county emergency services position, let's run this to you, Jeff. What is your number one priority when the earthquake hits? What is it that you have to do? Not what people are expecting, but you know, because Mark kind of indicated that, okay, you're going out to assess the situation. That's part of it. But where are you trying to get help, I guess, is the question.
Well, immediately, we're trying to understand just what the impact is to the community, and we're trying to get government reestablished. So we need to get immediately to that point of getting government back into service and understanding who can come to work and who can't come to work, because our employees are victims as well. So as we go into that process, I'm immediately trying to make contact with the mayor's office so that our elected officials know and understand, or we know and understand, what their priorities are going to be, while our first responders are digging out and trying to assess what's going on. They're not going to stop on a house fire. They're not going to stop with a school building that's collapsed. They're going to go through the area and they're going to try to find out the totality of what it is. And what our job becomes is that clearinghouse of trying to prioritize where we're going to send resources and how we're going to get those resources in. Immediately, we're going to have to identify staging areas in order to be able to get outside resources to those front line to be able to help the community as this thing begins to unfold and we get an idea of where we're at.
Now, Mike, you were talking about, just before we started this segment, you were talking about the fact that, you know, everybody needs to get their 72-hour kits together and be prepared on their own. Maybe from your family, do you have 72-hour kits or do you have a bigger kit?
Actually, the 72 hours is a planning figure. It may take, you know, anywhere from 1 to 72 hours to a week to get help into the valley. If our earthquake occurred in January or February when we've got a winter of 93 snowstorm and the major freeways closed, it may be a week or so. So the 72 hours planning figure is what we throw out. A week is better, and 2 weeks is better than that. So personally, our family is looking at about a week, and I've got stuff at the office. little kit in the trunk of my car. I even carry a little mini mag flashlight in my shaving gear when I travel. So
That's a good call.
yeah.
Well, and Chad, for our employees at county government, one of the things that we do, and it's right in line with what Mike says, when we're talking about 72-hour kits, we encourage 72-hour kits at your home, in your car, at your place of work, and more importantly, in building a 72-hour kit, we want people to start somewhere, do something today. I don't care if it's a bottle of water, a protein bar, and a radio that you get into a bag. That's a start. But we want people to, particularly in the month of September, to do something to start taking individual responsibility and getting those pieces in place.
Going right along with what Mike was saying, you know, they're commonly called 72-hour kits, and I don't think we'll ever get away from that, but we're trying to change people's mentality a little bit by, we call them disaster supply kits. It's your kit for your supplies for that disaster. We don't know how long a disaster is going to last, how long it's going to take for things to get back to normal or more resources to become available. So we try to get away from that 72-hour mindset by calling it a disaster supply kit. Following Hurricane Katrina, FEMA came out and said have at least a 5-day supply of food and water in your home, which goes right along with what Mike is saying. So that's bare minimum.
Okay, so my question for you, the community is looking to you for help, as the counties, as the state. And you will have, it's very clear at this point in this conversation, you will have a very limited ability to respond. What I would like to know is, where do you turn for help? What is the process that you get those people coming in on the freeway, and what kind of information do you have to prepare to get them, or the president or anybody, to say, yeah, well, we better get rolling to Utah?
You know, as a county entity, our first turn for help is to the state. You know, we try to manage the event as best as we can with the resources we have available, and at some point, as I said earlier, it's beyond our resources to respond, and we have to make that emergency declaration. A legal process where we are sending a request to the state, to the governor's office, for further assistance.
Then what happens at the state level?
Well, I'll add to what Wade said, that we're in what's called FEMA Region 8 for our federal response. FEMA Region 8 knows, they're located out of Denver, Colorado, that if Utah takes a 6.5 or above earthquake, they're going to begin automatically dispatching resources to this valley, whether we call them or not. It's already on its way. So it comes into the state. State will begin staging those resources, and then, like Wade said, as we get our situational awareness and understand what it is we need and where it is we need to go, we'll start reaching to that state, because that's our conduit from the county. Cities come to the county goes to the state, and the state then coordinates the federal resources and the other private sector resources that would be coming in and getting it to our front stage locations to be able to begin getting that into the population affected.
Well, I hope we have so far managed to get into people's heads that while the counties and the state are going to try and do as much as they can, they need to be a little bit better prepared. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, what I would like to do is be able to talk and address the issue of, beyond just the 5-day kits, what people should be thinking of in managing their own emergencies for their families and friends. And we'll be right back with more of that here on the County Seat.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
What are the words that describe the perfect destination? Finding them all in one place is easy if you know where to look. Millard County in the heart of Utah offers ATV adventures, rock crawling events, art festivals, and nature at its most epic. Millard County, Utah. Find out what you've been searching for.
I think renewable energy and wind farms is a good way to go. We have a lot of land here to do that with, and the opportunity will grow as time goes on.
If a person wants to work in Beaver County right now, they can find a job.
I can't think of a better legacy that I could have left for my town.
Fall in love with fall, Logan, Utah.